Hi there, gallery members and new viewers alike. Thanks for tuning in for this latest edition of Gridiron Gallery. If you haven't seen my channel before up until this point with new videos, recommend you like this one and subscribe for more. We got plenty of content on all your favorite football leagues. And for those gallery members out there, thank you as always for tuning in. Really can't appreciate you enough. Now, on to the show. Welcoming everybody to the Zach, Tony, and Grimbo show, part of the Gridiron Gallery podcast, the bi-weekly show where three buddies talk about the NFL and all its comings and goings and kind of catching up on our teams as we go along. Zach Keilman here in the host seat as always, along with my good friends Tony Stenulson and Michael Grimberg along for the ride. Fellas, how are we doing? We have crossed the midway point in the year. So halfway done, we got a whole back half to go. We're starting to talk playoffs, if you will.
What, playoffs?
Playoffs?
You kidding me?
Playoffs? It's time for the playoffs. That's kind of sound like Urkel now. But funny enough, as we're mentioning, is Jim Mora did just get signed on to a college program. If I remember right, he's going to UConn. Starting, so that is not out of the blue. Like, besides the playoff reference, he is back in the coaching realm, so
he won't have to worry about the playoffs there, so he's fine.
No. Independence is what he gets.
That's right.
Bowl games, don't talk about bowls. Well, folks, we are talking about at least the stretch run as it goes, and with the stretch run, we usually start to see post-trade deadline. Some people, sometimes bigger names, get, let off the hook, or, some things just kind of decide to devolve and separate, as we can say. As of our last show, that led to the likes of Odell Beckham Jr., one receiver that decides to speak his mind or have those speak his mind for him. Well, he's not with Cleveland anymore. They had, over the course of the last episode, him and the Browns organization kind of worked their way to go separate ways, if you will, and to kind of just, say, hey, Browns don't need him. Odell Beckham wants someone that's not Baker Mayfield, as he said so kindly in certain ways, either on social or through others like his dad, dropping 11 minutes of missed passes. Go figure. Maybe there's something there. I don't know. Baker just had a week where, he threw one of his best games in his career and, proved that he didn't need him. But now we know where OBJ is going. He's going to Los Angeles, which these days seems like anyone and everybody wants to go to play for the Rams to go win a championship in Los Angeles, in Inglewood, for this February Super Bowl. So, fellas, let's ask the question. Does OBJ make this team that much better? Is he washed? And if he's not washed, who's getting knocked down the rung in this receiver pecking order? Because it's not like Robert Woods and, Cooper Kupp aren't that bad or anything. Two top-tier receivers in this league. Where's he fit in here?
Go ahead, Mike.
When I first saw the news, I was kind of thrown off. But, with the Rams making all these moves, it just made sense for him to go there. Why not, right? Just throw him in there, see what happens. I actually don't hate the move. I feel like it is the perfect area for him to go, and I think the Rams, they don't need him, but it's more of a luxury to have. I think he is gonna open up more opportunities for the rest of the receivers in that receiving room, for them to actually make more opportunities. Cooper Kupp's on a heck of a rampage already this year. He's on pace to break Calvin Johnson's single receiving yard record.
No doubt.
And yeah, it's insane. So already with Jefferson and Tyler Higbee, and that Higbee's a threat, but on third down, he's been doing very well. And I feel like giving Odell Beckham an opportunity to chase a ring, this is probably his best opportunity to do that. And, you know, this kind of reminds me of the Antonio Brown situation when he was traded to Tampa Bay, and how he kind of has that veteran mindset, and how he can help the younger receivers around him to to kind of excel, you know, and it paid off for Antonio Brown. I mean, he got a ring, and he scored in the Super Bowl. So I don't know. It kind of reminded me of that, and we'll see how it goes. I'm not saying it's going to be exactly like that, and it's every team's different, but you know, he still has to form that bond with Matt Stafford too, and they got to find chemistry, and that's so huge in this game. People don't really take that into consideration, but
absolutely.
But I also think it's do very, very big things for Darrell Henderson as well, because he's already in a good year too, with Cam Akers going down too. So I mean, I think it's just going to open up a lot. I don't think it's going to be as drastic as everyone thinks it's going to be, but I think it's going to be a quietly solid move all the way around. Because I mean, they're already formidable everywhere else around. Just their defense is insane too. So they're just trying to be well-rounded, I guess. So
yeah.
The one counterpoint I have just to yours specifically, Mike, is, you know, coaching up those younger receivers. He's had that chance twice in his last two teams. He's been able to be that veteran player in the Giants for Sterling Shepard, for all those guys out there. He had the chance to be that way in Cleveland for Donovan Peoples-Jones, for Anthony Schwartz, and that's not who he is. He's not a leader. He's not a leader in the wide receiver corps. Yeah, he was a top 10 wide receiver a couple years ago. Now he's lucky to be top 15. I think it might open up more opportunities for Cooper Kupp, but at the same time, Cooper Kupp is going to make his own opportunities, and he's shown that this entire year. Plus, if you really think about it, I mean, it'll push maybe Van Jefferson down the pecking order, but in reality, you've got Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Tyler Higbee. You've got Darrell Henderson who can catch the ball. You've got Darrell Henderson who can run the ball. And I don't know how great Beckham is at run blocking, because he's usually standing out there on the edge, just kind of standing there. So I don't think he doesn't get as much playing time as he thinks he does, or I don't think he's going to be able to impact that offense as much as he could have a couple years ago. Honestly, you know, we were talking about it before. It'd be surprising to see if the Rams don't win the Super Bowl, Zach. But I think the biggest reason they won't is because of the locker room issues that Odell Beckham brings. Him and his dad. You are a 29-year-old man. A, you can fight your own battles. B, you haven't produced in a few years. You've been injured. You've just been trying to drop wide open passes. You know, it's about time to put up or shut up for him before he just fades out into nothingness. So the only good caveat is Von Miller on that defensive side coming to LA. He's a leader. Maybe he can fix that OBJ attitude. If not, wait for the implosion, because they still got to get through Arizona.
Well, the two are already talking. If you're talking Von Miller, they've at least had one instance where they've kind of FaceTime, Skype called, if you will. That was on social media as we're talking today. But my thing is I don't care. I mean, chemistry, I get it. All right. If fine. He wasn't a good fit in Cleveland because they have a different philosophy on how they run their offense, if you ask me. I mean, yes, he's had down production. I'm going to be honest with you. The dude has not shown up. He's been injured. But I also will lean in that it's a run first offense, that it doesn't care about trying to target someone. It shouldn't. Baker's been better when he's been able to have multiple targets that he's not having to lean and try and get production to. Jarvis Landry's thrived because Jarvis Landry comes off as a guy that's for the betterment of the team and generally is the rock solid leader on that receiving core. I think that's kind of the reason why he worked out and you see OBJ didn't, is because Landry knew what his job was and has continued to know what his job is in that offense, works for the betterment of Baker Mayfield. Whereas Odell, even if you want to do that whole video on the missed passes, I don't think the guy's really out for betterment of team. This guy comes off, at least on press conferences such as, my numbers, my brand, my image, I'm just out so I can, have my face out there, which, if you're talking about his years in Cleveland, his brand's kind of died, which is maybe why it's gotten to a point where he this year went, okay, like, I'm not really the public guy anymore. I'm healthy and I haven't been getting numbers at all. I haven't, my Giants days are well behind me. And I think Tony has at least mentioned this once, most people know him as just for getting one damn good catch against the Dallas Cowboys.
And he took an L in that game too.
Yeah. If you want to talk about something that he's most famous for, it is a back-breaking catch. Otherwise, I don't know if we'd be talking much about Odell. Maybe a few good seasons and then kind of one of those guys like a Victor Cruz that was great. Injuries kind of slowed down his career and he faded into obscurity. That's kind of where we're at right now. This is like, dude's 29 years old. It's time to, shut up and fix up what you need to do. Like, you don't have many years. You do not have too many years left that you can play at a high motor level in the NFL at that position is the problem. And I'm waiting to see if this is the case. Now, what's going to happen in LA to me, I don't know what you guys think, but to me, he's going to knock Van Jefferson away from being the deep threat. You're going to see Robert Woods still have the same targets where he switches between Slaughter being that third outside receiver. And there's no way in hell that they mess with Cooper Kupp because he's too hot right now. That chemistry is there. So the best case scenario is Van Jefferson loses deep targets, and then he's only used in 4 receiver sets moving forward. That's the best I got right now.
Yeah, because that's the biggest thing too. I wrote that down too. I was like, where do you put him? Do you put him in the slot? Do you put him on the outside? Where do you put him? Because Robert Woods can be that deep threat too. Cooper Kupp, you're not, like you said, you're not going to mess with that. It's insane. And Tyler Higbee obviously you're going to have to run. They're going to run the ball more. I mean, that's what they've wanted to do from the get-go. If Cam Akers wouldn't have gotten hurt, it would have been a split backfield between, Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson. So I think they do want to run it more. I don't think he's going to get as many snaps and as many throws his way as he thought he would. His better bet to get that would have been to go to Green Bay.
Yeah, would have.
He would have been the de facto number 2 there behind Devontae Adams. And, Devontae Adams is going to draw double and triple teams. So it's going to open up other people just like it has for Allen Lazard and Valdez-Scantling and all those guys. So he had a better chance of being more impactful in Green Bay than he does in LA.
Yeah, that's probably a whole nother conversation you can have in terms of Green Bay moving into this offseason for them is, this is another instance of kind of their front office. You have Odell who's like, yeah, that's my top priority. That's the place I want to go. And then you have Green Bay who's looking at a free agent like Odell and they're like, we'll give you like veterans minimum contract. And of course, Odell's not a receiver. I could be wrong. I don't know the guy personally, but everything that we've seen in his career since he's been in the NFL, that's not a guy that says, yeah, I'll just take the veteran minimum and I'm just going to go there. No, dude needs a little bit of cash as well if he's going to go play. He's probably going to get some targets in LA, but like, dude also is getting at least a reasonable 1-year deal to then probably, if it goes well, get a bigger deal on the back end next year, and he probably could have gotten the numbers in Green Bay. But do you want to, here's the thing. Do you want to stay in the Midwest like you were in Cleveland and hopefully get to the Super Bowl with that team that you're the next weapon? Or do you go to a stacked team in a wonderful city in Los Angeles where you have all the things that you are wanting and that you have a personality for right at your doorstep? I don't know about you, but that seems like that's the reason also why he chose LA too.
Yeah. But go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I was just going to say,
He was going to say.
If he were to go there, when Rodgers runs town or runs the Denver or wherever we're thinking he's going to go, and then Odell's just stuck. Then next offseason, he wants out. I don't know. It didn't seem. That's what I thought of immediately whenever I'm seeing all these people putting him in Green Bay gear and thing next year. So why would he go somewhere where, yes, they're contending? There is a big question mark. I don't know. I think said LA Saudi and so I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. That's fair enough. Yeah. I think that you're going to see like we're talking, he'll get his targets. I don't know if they're going to move the needle that much with him. Maybe they do, Again, it all depends. Is like everyone's sitting on their heels now whenever next chance he gets, which is supposedly Monday Night Football against the 49ers coming up here. And that's, they're going to see if he is the real deal. If you take the leash off, if you free Odell Beckham, which by the way, I thought that was such a joke that was the campaign, was free OBJ. Like, you saw this lame ass attempt to be like, oh yeah, no, the Browns have been trapping him for like two and a half years now. And LeBron James comes out of the blue and says that he's trapped and that he wants to be freed from his shackles. And all I'm thinking is, what are you talking about? The Browns gave you what you wanted. Like, it's not like this. You sound like this is an organization that was like holding you hostage on a contract negotiation, which you haven't said anything on. You have plenty of ways to do it if you wanted, but the Browns gave you what you want. They didn't move you. They let you go. And yet there are still people like free OBJ, like Justin Jefferson. The freaking weekend after the weekend that they are saying, yeah, he's going to be released, he's wearing a shirt that says free OBJ. It's like, what's the point? Dude's already going to get released on Monday. Why are you wearing that t-shirt? Unless there's something else you are not telling us. And if so, please tell us. I beg you, because I don't get it.
They gave him every possible chance to take that step forward, be the number one in Cleveland, and he got hurt. He got injured. His best game was against the Cowboys last year in his 2.5 years there. Honest to God, the dude has been so injury prone, been that cancer. The statistics don't lie, man. Baker Mayfield's a better quarterback without OBJ in the lineup. And that's a hill I'll die on. You can free OBJ all he wants, but at this point of his career, what's there to free?
I don't know what to say.
How deep? What's there to free? I love it.
There's nothing. Like, last chance. That's all I could say. This is dude's last legitimate chance. Will be this like 1 year deal, and then if he breaks out, he gets one more good contract. That's about it. Okay, I'm whatever. I wish him the best. I hate, like, that's like one of the dumb things with NFL and like sports culture is like all this like extra crap on the side sometimes. Like, people that are divas, I dislike it to a massive extent. And I despise some people that buy into that hype even more so, because it's a waste of time and space, if you ask me, talking about that, which is why I'm happy that we spent most of the time talking how this fits with LA. I'm just my honest opinion. You guys can have different. I don't care. I'm just telling you that crap like that, like a TO off the field type of story or something like that, where it's like beef or something, it's a waste of my time. There's stories I could care less to revisit down the line. They don't matter.
The only difference between OBJ and TO is TO actually backed up his production. So,
well,
fair enough.
Not wrong. TO had more stunts, but
for the record, I didn't like TO.
Right. You had to play against him, and you had to have him a few years too. Still in his prime,
Yeah.
I mean, that was special. That was a special talent, though. Got away with a lot too. Yeah. On this modern day. Speaking of talent and also personality, somebody is returning to their old team. We got like double whammied with like news as we're going into recording today, because Cam Newton somehow ended up back up on Carolina after having a roundabout way of being released, then being signed to the Patriots last season, being released by the Patriots this year after Mac Jones won that starting job. And well, midway through the year, Carolina's a wreck, and Sam Darnold, the experiment has failed. And sure enough, they don't have faith in PJ Walker. So who are we going to call? Cam Newton, Super Cam, back to save the day. Except he doesn't start this week, at least as of this show. He's got to wait a week. Give him some time to catch up to a different offensive scheme. I don't know about you guys, but I'm wondering how much gas in the tank this guy has. I don't know how much this will save the season. I mean, it's more stabilization than Sam Darnold, we're learning. So I guess there's that. It maybe moves the needle a bit. I don't know if it saves the Panthers, though. You know, they're right on the cusp of like the 7th seed, but I don't know if it saves them. That's the thing. You know, it all depends on what Cam Newton do we get. Do we get like first 3 weeks of like 2020 Cam Newton, or do we get like post-COVID recovery Cam Newton? That's the whole if, ands, or buts about this whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, you know, he's back in a familiar environment, kind of, but, you know, having a different head coach is a huge culture shock. You know, Matt Rule and Ron Rivera are 2 totally different minded coaches. So he's going to have to learn that offense. He's going to have to, you know, take that step forward. You know, having Christian McCaffrey back is great for Carolina. It's great for Cam Newton as well. But I don't think it saves Carolina. I mean, after that Dallas game, everything started going downhill for him. And, you know, I think that they're going to miss that playoff, but that'd be the best bet for him, because then you look at it and you get a better draft pick. You know, maybe you go out and get one of the quarterbacks that's in college football that you can go out and get. You know, it's I don't know, it'll help them, but maybe it'll help them too much to the point where it's just their mediocrity. They're not playoff team. They're not, you know, bad enough for a high draft pick. They're just there.
Yeah.
So
Tough schedule for them tough schedule for them so far. And it's going to be it's going to be a buzzsaw at the end of the year. So, you know, you do get a few games after this Arizona game where, you know, unless PJ Walker comes out and lights up the world, you know, which it might be Colt McCoy playing that game still for the Cardinals. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe they get lucky. It's the backup bowl. But, you know, you get a few games like Washington and Miami. You know, you'll get the Falcons here to play your second contest against. So Mike's ready for that. And then after that, it's like Buffalo, two of them in 3 weeks will be Buccaneers, and then the Saints to end the season. So say the best case scenario, it's 5-5. Got a lot to maintain. Got a lot to catch up on really quick, you know. And Cam's not as much a runner as he used to be. I mean, he runs, but like, dude has beaten himself up over the years. Like, let's be frank.
Right. Yeah, what I think about this situation, I feel like it's a desperation move getting Cam Newton. Like, yes, he's familiar with the franchise. He was drafted number 1 overall, but I feel like I blame this on David Tepper, honestly, the owner of the Panthers. The guy just, he wants to win, and he wants to win now. He doesn't want to wait. He's very impatient. The guy, he just wants to win now, and he needs to do it. So I feel like the whole Sam Darnold bandwagon train was very premature. I feel like it kind of fell flat on their face right before the whole injury of he's on the IR now. But I mean, he was doing okay, but like, I don't know. I feel like they just jumped the gun too quick. And then now they're like, oh, well, we need something. We need something to spark the whole world up. So let's bring Cam Newton back, which Matt Rule was the reason why he didn't want Cam Newton in the first place. That's why he got booted in 2019, because he wasn't the same. And he just was not the same the last 2-3 years he was in Carolina. He couldn't really throw the ball. turnover prone, injuries, all of what you don't want in a quarterback was Cam Newton those last few years. And Matt Rule was the reason why they got rid of him. So now you're going to bring him back to Carolina. Yeah, he has better weapons than he did when they went to Super Bowl. I'll give him that. I would say they have almost a better defense than they did that year too. But
yeah,
they got a top 10 defense.
Well, Gilmore also is going to be fully healthy now moving forward.
Yep.
That alone is a boost, and that was kind of an under the radar type of trade that we were like waiting to see how that would pan out. But
right,
he's going to play.
Yeah, he played against Atlanta too. He got an interception, unfortunately. But yeah, like, and another thing with this is, sure, say they do decent intel. What they gonna do? They already picked up Sam Darnold's 5th-year option. What's going to go on there? Do you keep one? Or do you draft somebody? They don't really seem like they have a clear path to try to bring a title to Carolina. It doesn't seem like I feel like it was a and I don't know. I like it for Cam Newton because I feel like his personality and going back to where he started it all is, it's cool. I'm fine with it, whatever. But for the Panthers organization, it doesn't seem like it's the right move, especially right now. I don't know. It doesn't seem right.
Yeah, well, it's almost surreal because he was only let go 2 years. He was only let go 2 seasons ago after 2019, and then you have Bridgewater come in.
Mm-hmm.
That was a failure overall, just because inconsistency plagued Bridgewater. And then, over for Cam, New England, like we mentioned at the beginning of this part, we started off fast. COVID hit, whether it was, his issues or not with following protocol. And then anything post-COVID, dude did not look like himself. I mean, let's remember, guys, early in that year, they almost upset Seattle, which at the time was the hottest team in the NFC. They were on the goal line. Newton just got stuffed, which is hard to imagine. They lost 35-32 in Seattle at that point. And a lot of people thought that the Patriots looked legit. And then all of a sudden, post-COVID, everything just fell apart. And then this offseason, you get Mac Jones come in. Mac Jones catches on McDaniels' offense that much faster. Another violation happens. And now he's on the street. And now all of a sudden he's back in Carolina like it's nothing, which feels like forever ago. But it's only been 2 seasons and he's already back. So like it's very much comfort foody. But if he can catch up, if Joe Brady's offense takes off because of him, which is kind of hard to say because Cam's not exactly not always the accurate passer, but the guy can throw it on a line like no other, then who knows? Maybe that'll help. What I'll be fascinated to see is if they somehow turn around and you watch, like, even in his age, say they give him a contract next year and they sign him back, like they let him go and he comes back around and goes, "Oh yeah, I saved your asses. I'd like my money now." And like, that would just be the biggest tail between your legs moment for any franchise going, we just let this guy go and wasted a year and a half trying to solve this problem. And all we need to do is just keep him on the roster, let him get healthy. God, we're idiots.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's weird.
And grow some funky hair too.
Yeah. Well, him and Robbie Anderson have the same style, essentially. They're like pried apart.
Yep.
Weird. I don't even know what the hell to call that.
Something from Hey Arnold or something. It looks like.
Hey Arnold.
Yeah. I don't even know how to describe that. That's a funky hairdo. But
the only thing I saw about was that they're like the Island Boys, which I have not listened to any music from that group. I don't know. I guess they
Big
look
meme.
similar. It's like pride hair, some sticks up, others stick to the side. It's a fad.
Yeah,
not
it
my
is.
fad, but it's a fad.
Uh,
I'll go with the combed hair and the beard. Thank you very much.
that was just fine.
Okay, so with Cam on here, over 500, under 500. We talking for the Panthers. We talking for just his win loss this year. Does he get above or below 500 for this season? Tough call.
I'm gonna go with below.
Right now,
Below.
are they at 5-3?
They're 4-5. And again, they got a toughish slate ahead of them. Although, if they somehow beat Arizona this week, then there is a higher probability they can finish at or around 500. They would be 5-5 instead of 4-6, with 2 matchups against Tampa Bay and 1 against New Orleans left.
Below.
Yeah, I'm gonna blow. If anything, the defense is going to carry it. So,
yeah,
the defense is, and that's without JC Horn too, because he's hurt. Man, if you get him back, ooh,
could you imagine?
That's already a good defense because they went and got Gilmore, and now you're going to get him back, and then you got Jeremy Chin. And Burns. Good Lord.
They got pieces. You just got to stay healthy.
It's like 2015 all over again, but it's just a different Cam Newton.
Well, yeah.
It all comes down to the quarterback.
A beaten, battered Cam Newton, unless he proves us wrong. Look, I don't know what he's been doing for half a year either. All I know is he's been away. That's it. Been pretty quiet for like first half of the season. So he's just been out of our view.
I hope he proves us wrong. I hope he does.
I don't know. I would love to see, like I was saying, I would love to see him like come out, like bring them to like that 7th seed somehow. And then they have to pay the guy. Like he plays well enough to where they're like, we screwed up and let like our franchise player go.
Yeah.
Like if they, I would have a good smirk on my face if that happened, just because it would just be such a weird, like comes around, goes around type of thing.
Yep.
Absolutely. It'd be fun. I'm not saying it will happen, but it would just be kind of funny. I'd have a good laugh.
For sure.
Yeah. I'd have a good laugh. I think that would be, for our next segment, if that were to happen now, that would be our biggest surprise of the year for myself, but that's not what I have. As we're saying, we're midway through the season. So every year there's something that I think catches us off guard. It's the NFL. It's a parity league. Anything goes. Not everyone's guaranteed to win every Sunday. Some teams come out of the fray and season predictions are wrong. So things just change. Here's the deal. My big surprise so far, and this is one I've been harping on since last year that gave me no confidence in any offseason moves this team did. Tennessee's defense has shown me that I can trust it. The last 4 weeks have made me say I can trust the Titans defense again. And it's because they are generating pressure at an insane rate that they have not been doing under Mike Vrabel. They've consistently been getting 3, 4, 5 sacks a game. They sacked Matthew Stafford 5 times their last contest out. They are the reason why they went into LA and just basically booted the Rams out of their own home stadium. They made it a nothing burger within the first half. 21 points scored in the second quarter. 2 of those scores are either from a pick six or getting the ball at LA's 3-yard line and just punching it in. The game was over before half, and the Rams only scored late in the fourth quarter before pretty much when it was all said and done. That's what's nice. And they didn't need Derrick Henry. It's like Michael said.
Insane.
They didn't need Derrick Henry either. That defense has proven me wrong, which makes me now believe that Tennessee if it continues in this path, if the on tape production stays together, they might have a chance to represent the AFC this year.
Whoa, baby.
There it is.
They might have a chance. I'm saying that defense is what's unlocking any of the potential that the Titans have to go beyond being a 10-11 win team that gets knocked out in the semis. It's that defense that's going to unlock the way. There's some banged up pieces to it, but the season goes on. You hope they get healthy right in time. And and the Colts are trying their best to keep up, but like they swept the Colts already. They're basically a 4-game lead ahead if you count the tiebreaker on the Colts for sweeping the season series. To me, unless something catastrophic happens even farther, they've locked up the South. Now it's all about just going after that 1 seed, which they have the unit now to do so. And I'm banking on Jeremy McNichols and Adrian Peterson being a dynamic duo that gets better over time as they get better chemistry inside that offense. So watch out, folks. 36-year-old AP is going to be going to the AFC Championship game with Ryan Tannehill and company in tow. I'm booking it right now. I'm changing it up.
I want to know what in the world are they not using Julio Jones for?
Because A.J. Brown just does enough.
I guess Julio's been hurt.
He's also been like dealing with hammy issues all year.
Right. But that last game that they had, I don't remember who they were playing, but
they went to Julio more often.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. They did.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, which you're going to have to, I mean, you're going to have to see Tannehill, like, even against LA, they didn't have to pass that much. But again, it was defensively, they just did enough. But more contests through the year, you're going to have to expect Tannehill to sling it more. It's bound to happen. So, you know, better chemistry, healthier receivers. A.J. Brown alone is a menace, and that chemistry between those two is very palpable for the most part. Like, they can do damage alone. You just hope that Julio stays healthy, and then, you know, everything just goes to hell for anyone that plays them because they have two pieces they can just throw to whatever. I'm saying.
Yeah. Did we all have Tennessee win in the South in our predictions?
I think I had Tennessee.
I picked Indy.
I was gonna say we didn't all pick Tennessee, so yeah. But also,
you're
like,
so close, Michael, so close.
I mean, Carson Wentz has kind of derailed Michael's campaign. Like every step of the way, this man, I would say this man has single-handedly lost at least 2 games this year for the Colts. One of them against Tennessee, for Christ's sake.
Yep.
Like,
well,
dude,
nobody thought Carson Wentz was going to be the answer in Indy, and if you did, you're kind of delusional because, like, really,
he's played all right, but like worst possible times, dude tries to do too much. Yeah. Like, how do you at the against Tennessee 2 weeks prior now to this? How are you at your 2-yard line and you chuck it up, you chuck it like 15 feet in the air, and then you just get picked? Like, it's just an easy pick six. Why was that the solution? Sometimes it's best to not extend the play.
You would have been better off taking the safety. You would have.
Yes.
I throw ball. You just got to throw a ball. Throw a ball.
Throw a ball.
That's
ball
it.
Goes somewhere.
Ball go. Ball. I throw it. Go.
Ball not in hand. No sack. No sack. Oh, touchdown. That wasn't in the deal.
Oh. Yeah, Titans are proving some people wrong, though. You were definitely onto something there.
Saying that defense has come to play. Pressure is their big draw right now. Like I said, they're getting like 3 to 5 sacks a game the last 4 contests. That's massive. And they have been last year. They were one of the worst teams at generating pressure.
Yeah, and they had the most porous secondary in the NFL. So
pressure makes for a better secondary. So that's you can
right.
say it was a.
One could also say a better secondary helps with pressure.
Oh.
Oh.
All right, guys, give me some. Let's hear some surprises, boys. Teams, players, units, you name it. I want to hear it. Come on. God, there's a lot of them this year, really.
That there are. Mike, go ahead, buddy.
Even themes like more close games, which is another one I could have used there too.
Monday nights are competitive. Look at that.
Oh, hey, that's a good surprise.
That's not mine, but it's fine.
It's a good surprise, though.
Yeah.
They've been better games this year.
I kind of have two, but one of them is like a short kind of thing. So I'll just start off with that. The offseason hype with the Jacksonville Jaguars and Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence seems like it is not being talked about at all. And I wonder what is going to be next year for them. Especially with what happened in the middle of the year with Urban Meyer. And I don't know, it seems like he was ready to make this huge leap, and I remember watching his press conference, his like not initiation, but his like welcoming to the Jaguars, and it was just like it seemed like he was the right guy for this franchise, and now it's just like swept under the rug, and he hasn't really done anything. Granted, I know he's got a rookie quarterback and a very, very young team, but that rookie quarterback is like one of the best rookie quarterbacks in quite some time, since probably Andrew Luck, if I were to say someone like that. But I feel like the
prospect,
prospect wise, and I don't know, they're just not really on all that much. Maybe they're just because they're not winning all that much, they're just not being talked about, which could be it. But I'm just kind of curious what they're going to be next year and everything like that. But I just wanted to throw a coach out there. But a team wise that I've been kind of keeping my eye out on, and I feel like they're kind of surprising people more than usual, or should I say in the past, and that's the New England Patriots. I feel like they're kind of flying under the radar a little bit.
I think they are too.
Yeah.
A little bit
of deja vu with leading with a rookie quarterback. But we'll see how that goes. I mean, they've had some very, very close games this year that they've lost, and they've had close that they won. And, they're all doing it with a rookie quarterback, which is remarkable. And, I feel like they have a team that's got a bunch of guys that are playing their role, and which is what you want in your team. And, I mean, they saw those flashes in the offseason with Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry and all those other guys I can't name off the top of my head. But, they're kind of all buying into that Patriot way that has been preached for decades now. We've been trying to escape it from Tom Brady, damn it. And it's just, I don't know. They're just flying under the radar. Everyone's talking about the Bills, and rightfully so. They're the Bills right now.
But worse right now.
Right. They're kind of slowly creeping their way up to a spot in the playoffs. And I mean, if they get that right matchup, it might be some trouble for some teams in the playoffs. I'm just kind of keeping an eye on them. They've been surprising me for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can't ever count out a Belichick-led team. I mean, honestly, he's one of the best coaches and he's definitely the best coach that we've ever seen in our lifetime. So, there's a lot of teams that are surprising. There's a whole bunch of them that are out there. You can go with the Cincinnati Bengals. Basically, we're up there leading their division. Now, the AFC North is a little bit tighter now, 2 weeks later, after that loss to the Jets, loss to the Browns. But my biggest surprise is the team I had picked finished number 2 in their division, behind the Buffalo Bills, and that was the Miami Dolphins, man. They opened up with a barn burner. They put down New England like they needed to week 1, and they lost 7 straight. That's tough, man. I mean, it's definitely not a time to be a Miami Dolphins fan, especially because they had everything. They got Jalen Waddle. They got all these good. They overhauled their roster. They've got a great defense. Holland's coming into his own out there on defense. Tua's been hurt off and on, which is tough for Tua, man. I feel for him. We all want Tua to do well. But yeah, being 2-7 right now, going into this Thursday night game against the Ravens, as of right now, they're leading 6-3. So there's definitely a barn burner on Thursday night. If they can pull this win off, it might be a turning point. But excuse me, it's one of my biggest surprises. I figured they were going to contend with the Bills for that top spot, and they're down here looking almost as bad as the Jets.
They've definitely stumbled in a lot of areas. I think obviously Tua being knocked out early on in the season has not helped. Jacoby Brissett is filled in, but is not given the explosiveness needed. Or it's actually been Tua's, I would say some mistakes in the offense and just a scheme. It's been kind of stalling out at the worst possible times. I mean, losing to Jacksonville is a bit of a low considering how that team is kind of stripped down a little bit, trying to do a full scale rebuild. And you have Miami, who was supposed to be arguably a wild card, if not at least competing to go for that division. I don't think any of us had the Dolphins winning in that division for a preview. I think all of us had Buffalo, which is still the case, but I just find that it just is amazing how they have fallen off the map so quickly, too. Yeah. Absolutely.
They were 10-6 last year. They have more losses this year than they did last year with a better roster.
Right.
And they ended up getting a top 5 pick.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't joke about that.
But whatever. But still. First team in like 20 years to do that or something like that. If they would have made the playoffs, they would have been made the playoffs and had a top, I think, 5 pick.
That whole playoffs are not for them. Came down to them beating Buffalo and getting annihilated in week 17. So that's about it. That's all she wrote there. But I do get it, Tony. Like, I've been amazed. It's like it also accelerates the whole discussion on does Tua deserve to have the job? Should we move on? Do the Miami Dolphins need a different quarterback already? And some people like myself going, is this like the next Josh Rosen incident? Although it's not, because Rosen only lasted a season. Tua is in year 2. So, a little bit different, at least.
Yeah, toughest part is he can't stay healthy, man. There's nothing worse than a quarterback that can't stay healthy. Especially, you have Jacoby Brissett this year, but last year, he didn't really have that great of a backup. So, it's that in lies the tough part of it as well. So, not everybody can have a Cooper Rush that, beats the Vikings on Sunday night. So,
yeah, or at least a good, well-built unit that can, give Rush that best chance to win. You gotta give a lot of credit to everyone that's there. Kellen Moore, of course, delivering as an OC, and there's getting more talks, by the way. Tony, I'm seeing at least the guy might be up for a coaching position after this season, just how he keeps to be building up his resume as transitioning that well from backup quarterback to now running one of the best offenses in the game.
Yeah, but is he running one of the best offenses because of the talent, or is it because of his play calling as well? It's one of those things where it's like a Dan Quinn. You're a great coordinator, but should you be a head coach?
Right. Well, and he's shown he's still a great coordinator because he's gone to Dallas, and
Yeah.
He's done what he's needed. Tony's reaping the benefits, man.
Yep.
Although let's be honest, Arthur Smith has unlocked Cordell Patterson, and they're 4-4. So, they're already leagues ahead of what they were last year. The fact that they're a fringe playoff team, I'd be feeling great right now.
They can let me down, and they can make me happy to go to the playoffs. We'll see. It all lies in their hands. So we'll see.
Dirty bird.
They surprised me. So.
Feathers.
Right. Exactly.
That, and maybe I would say Atlanta. That I'll give that one as a surprise. I want to continue. I think just to add on more to our Monday Night Football one that Tony brought up too. I think it's not just that. Like, it seems like all the primetime games are just hitting on all cylinders right now. For the most part, even Thursday night for this year seems like it has been less boring this season than it has ever been. Like yes, like last week, as of this recording, we had Indianapolis and New York and the Jets, which started out hot, and we don't know what would have happened because Mike White only lasted like 2 series and then was out for the rest of the game, and the score doesn't really tell the whole story. But I mean, besides that, we've had some good thrillers all year. And I don't know if it's just me getting older and forgetting like good seasons or what, but it just seems like this year compared to like last or even the year prior, I'm like, wow, this like every primetime game is hitting like a mark, and it's like coming down the wire. And, you know, storylines are being written every week that I didn't see last season for some reason, you know. Could just be the COVID factor too. I don't know. Something's different this year.
Well, some people would argue that, you know, Thursday nights are still pretty bad. You know, there's been talk, especially when you saw the drubbing of the Jets against Indy, you know, you're like, all right, this is what I'm watching. Like at this point, when do you turn the TV? Like when do you turn the channel?
Right.
Sunday night, Monday night been pretty good. Most of Thursdays, I would agree, with the exception of a couple. But, you know, hey, I'll take it because, you know, as a Dallas Cowboys fan who's been calling 8-8 every single season, and even just enjoying the ride, man. The fact that Cooper Rush was able to win on the biggest stage of them all, I'm fine with that. I was still shocked Monday. I wasn't like over enthusiastic. Like I was just sitting there. I was like, you know what? We won last night. We won with the backup. I'm good. I'm just gonna relax.
And then Dak comes back, and the Broncos decide that that's the day we're gonna put it all together.
Yeah.
Drop 30 on him until garbage time is hit well into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, my fantasy week wasn't even salvaged. Like I was hoping for Amari Cooper, like garbage time touchdown. No, Malik Turner got 2. It's fine.
Yeah, okay, but so here's my thing, just my angle. What's worse, having it that you were already blown out of the building and like it was over early, or have it where it's giving me false hope and seeing like refs and Ben Roethlisberger rip me to pieces, and me go, great. Another loss, although good Justin Fields performance, but another horrible loss.
Yeah, those penalties that killed the Bears on Monday night, man. That was.
Ooh, yeah.
That was rough. I felt for you that night.
Robert Quinn needs to do something with his head. Put it back. Do something.
Yeah, don't line up offside, man. Come on.
Don't go off.
Playing professional football for like 12 years.
Maybe, you know, don't go off sides. Obviously, I guess avoid getting hip checked by a ref. Or
taunting.
I don't know. That whole taunting for that whole mess. I'm like, okay, yeah, he wasn't looking at guys, but like, dude also stayed way too long over there. I don't agree with the call, but it was like, I see where they're like trying to throw it because they're like, okay, you can go back to your sideline now, you know, and the hip check was stupid, but like, I was like, maybe you should move away. Go.
Yeah, crap call, but at the same time, like you just made the biggest play of the game. Why are you going towards your opponent's sideline? Like, go celebrate with your team. Like, especially with how the taunting penalties have been called this season. Nah, man.
Yeah,
you get back to your side. You celebrate a little bit. You go back to your sideline. You move on. You get the ball back. You potentially win that game.
Still, obviously, problem is with taunting because it's a garbage thing unless it's in an extreme way, which that wasn't, you know, in any circumstance. But absolutely, like the way it's called, that's something. It's like just go back your sideline, dude. There's a big moment. You can go over there. You know, hope the NFL it's one of these things like, you know, they're horrible reviewing of pass interference where they just reverse it next year because it went that poorly. I don't know if it will, but like I think everyone in the NFL that's not like some owner like John, like freaking John Mara is going, yeah, no, this was stupid. Like we should have never done this. You know,
it's the young coaches that are the biggest proponents for the taunting penalty to be strengthened. It's insane. It's like Sean McVay, like those guys. It's like, what are you doing? Like,
get your teams in order, then, you idiot.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Like, I'm sorry, your teams are over celebrating. Okay, well then like focus up. It
like we're
you know,
being
it's not
fair.
the teams that have the older owners. It's
Like we're being fair, like say Sean McVay. McVay's actually not like there's been a few times this year he's been bailed out by good play, not good coaching. For crying out loud. I mean, Detroit, for God's sake, Detroit could have almost beat LA in their own home if it wasn't for the fact that they were just that barren in talent, for Christ's sake. You know, Dan Campbell coached way better and has his guys under control. Like at least in terms of like what the objective is. You know, I find that so asinine if that's so strange that you have young coaches doing that crap.
You know, it's going to come back to bite Sean McVay because now that he's got Odell's going to do something, say something. And next thing you know, a 30-yard pass is going to be, you know, brought back 15 because of a taunting penalty. So, you know, you made your bed. Now you get to lie in it, buddy.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Motion's part of the game, but like you have the power as a coach to bring guys together and be understanding there's a greater goal, you know, and win and to be smart about certain things and such, you know. Yeah, it's part of the NFL's whole new changes when it comes to rulings and changes of flags is learning how to play the game within the game. Unfortunately, this is one of those years where it's like we're playing the game of how to not get caught for stupid penalty for taunting that would otherwise be left alone. You know, guys are adjusting, unfortunately. Like the whole like talk to the guy in front of his face used to be so normal. Now it's gone. You know, now you have to learn that, like, just shut up, you know. Maybe or find a different way to do it where you're getting in the guy's head. Okay. Like there's other ways of doing this away from the ref.
Yeah.
So I hate it all the same, but at this point it's like, dude, you need to like adjust. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
There's no other solution. You know, you can complain all you want, but they're not going to fix it yet. So
Yet.
There's off-season meetings to do that.
That's right.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
So gentlemen, it's been another week. It's been another 2 weeks. We got another show coming up in 2 more weeks. In the biggest season ever. Remember, the NFL has been advertising at this. It's the biggest season ever.
Oh man.
And I could cuss like
way too.
I can make a Sherlock reference with a specific word, but I won't do that, obviously. Everyone knew that. So we continue the biggest season ever later on. Plenty more ahead. We'll be analyzing stuff like, you know, Odell Beckham Jr.'s adjustment to the Rams. Cam Newton maybe being super Cam later on. Will Tony Stenulson's Dallas Cowboys win the NFC East without any issue? Will Michael Grimberg's Atlanta Falcons make the playoffs?
Will Keilman's Bears? Oh, wait.
No, that's not right. Will I be happy at the end of the year?
Will Zach Keilman succumb to alcoholism due to all the old styles he drank during the Bears games?
I resist every day. Another week goes by, and every loss, I'm like, oh, that's a shame. And I just go to the tally board and I go, that's one more chink against the organization. The percentages of firings go up every week. It's the one thing I go home and I'm like, take silver lining.
Hashtag fire Matt Nagy.
It's gonna be over soon.
Silver lining.
It's gonna be over soon, guys. It's going that way. There's no way he's gonna save a season this year. It's going that way. Unless Justin Fields does it for me, which I'm gonna be like, I love you, but I also hate you because you kept the guy around. Back to hell I go. Folks, that's going to be it. Follow us on social media at Grid Gallery Pod on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Follow us also on our YouTube page, by the way, where you can watch our ugly mugs talk about this stuff with a little more emotion and other things that happen. Hey, remember I threw on a hat somewhere that I looked like Kirby Smart last time. I'm not, obviously it's the end of the show, so I can't do that right now. But, you know, sometimes stuff like that happens and you miss that when you're listening to the podcast version. Also follow these knuckleheads on your favorite social media. Michael and Tony are both on Instagram. However, only Tony is on Twitter. Still, someday we'll get Michael to be convinced, or this will just be the longest inside joke that we have in the show where he just continuously doesn't join and I can never tag him in photos.
I still think he's got a burner account.
He probably does.
Nope.
Dirty Bird 35.
Not that you know of.
I'll find it one of these days.
Maddie's Ice 35 on Twitter.
Oh man.
You can find both on Instagram at the very least. And then remember, guys, we release these shows every 2 weeks. So we will be continuing throughout the season. So we'll be back at you really kind of around Thanksgiving. So we'll get a chance to kind of talk about what we're thankful for. You know, Tony gets to watch the Cowboys, you know, do his usual thing and get the nationally televised game on whatever station.
I love Thanksgiving, food, family, and football, man. You know, can't beat it.
That bit extra. I don't have an off this year. Actually, I'm going to be working Thanksgiving, which is it's sad. It's sad. It was coming at some point with my job outside of this, but I've been avoiding it for 2 years. Unfortunately, year 3 was the unlucky year. It has been quite a time talking to my mom, telling her that that's not going to happen. So, you ever want to disappoint your family members? Don't show up to Thanksgiving. That's the
I have
truth.
2 Thanksgivings this year.
Well, good for you. I wish I could borrow one of them.
I'll eat some food for you, brother.
That's okay. My plan is I am going to buy White Castle and then I will enjoy it on video call with my family as they're enjoying a nice turkey and stuffing and green bean casserole over in Knoxville, Tennessee.
So wait, you're gonna choose White Castle over like the KFC, Popeyes, you know, at least something that's, you know, got some bird in it.
I mean, at this point I won't care. Like, I'm not gonna cook a turkey.
That's fair.
I mean, KFC, I haven't had KFC in a while, and Popeye, I mean, I don't have Popeyes fine, I guess.
Yeah.
You want it to be really weird, you can go to Long John Silver's for chicken.
Yeah. That's true.
That's a thing.
That's a weird one to go to, but you know,
for those of you that didn't know that, or
it is
like
a thing.
me that watch too much television for their job.
I don't like that. It makes me uncomfortable.
Down south, I go to Bojangles, but that doesn't happen either.
You were in the region, or if you were in Cleveland, you can go to Raising Cane's.
Damn it, that's like one thing I want to go back for. What Raising Cane's? I'm not gonna be up there till December for the Browns Ravens game now, so it's gonna be a while. Marked.
Bring your snow jacket and your boots, man. It ain't fun.
I'm also gonna bring like $80 so I can just buy a bunch more Raising Cane's.
There you go.
Stockpile that stuff, especially the sauce.
Well, see, we tried to do that this past weekend coming back from Cincinnati. We stopped in Columbus, and the line for Cane's was so long. We're like, no, we're good. We'll go to Sonic instead.
Damn it. All right, guys. Stay tuned. Catch you next week. Have a good one. The Gridiron Gallery podcast. New episodes every Friday on your favorite podcast platforms, YouTube, and premiering first, as always, at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, only on unhingedsn.com.